Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I want to wish you an early Thanksgiving. My name is Lily Chang. I'm the founding director of the Chinese Cultural Center at San Diego State University. Also, currently, I serve as the chair of the board of the San Diego Chinese Historical Museum. Today, we are so excited and delighted to welcome Billy and May to A Lost Weekend, a Love Story for the Chang Chinese American Experience and Beyond. We have participation from the United States of America, from Canada, from Great Britain, from Australia, from Lima, Peru, from Guatemala, from Italy, from Denmark, and so on. We welcome all of you to this wonderful session. Now it gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's session, Dr. Bob Stein, who is a cardiologist and a current key board member of the San Diego Chinese Historical Museum, also the president of the Palomar Rehabilitation Hospital, as well as a key member of the American Heart Association. How fitting, a love story. Dr. Bob Stein.
Thank you, as always, for your lovely introduction, Lily. And we're certainly looking forward to hearing about the story of May Pang, uh, told by May Pang herself. And right now, I want to talk about upcoming events. We've got December off. We're going to take the month off in December because of the holidays. But come January, we're going to hear a very cool talk, which you wouldn't want to miss, by Karen Fang, who's written a book, a background artist, The Life and Works of Tyrus Wang. And who's Tyrus Wang? He is an artist born in China, moved to Southern California at a young age, and spent his life in Southern California and did ceramics, artwork, but most interestingly, in terms of fame, he worked for both Disney and Warner Brothers, and he did all of the background scenes for many of the animated films that we all know and love, including Bambi and others. All those lush background scenes were all done by Tyrus Wang. And maybe Karen will even tell us his personal secrets because somehow or another he lived to be 106. And then in February, on February 21st, our own Lily Birmingham is going to speak about Chinese woodblock prints. And if you've been watching me for the last several years, you've noticed in my dining room I have two Japanese woodblock prints over my shoulder. And we're going to be hearing about Chinese woodblock prints and from Lily Birmingham. And certainly you wouldn't want to miss that. And right now I'm going to turn things back briefly to Lily, who's going to tell us about upcoming events at the San Diego Chinese Historical Museum.
Yes, we have a current exhibition of the Second World War China, Burma, India theater. If you are in downtown San Diego, come and visit. November 22nd, we have a book signing. And December 2nd, we have the Asian Pacific Historic District walking tour, which is a monthly occurrence. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And we want to right now ask Afina Lang, who is a student at Canyon Crest High School, along with Kathy G, who's also on here. And Afina is going to talk to us about the events going on at San Diego State University Chinese Cultural Center. Afina?
Yeah. So San Diego State University's Chinese Cultural Center is established in 2019. We promote cultural exchange and learning through exhibitions, lectures, and collaborations that connect our campus with the global community. And today we're proud to present Silk on Silk, an exhibit that reflects this mission by celebrating the timeless beauty and cultural legacy of Chinese silk. For over 5,000 years, silk has woven together stories of art, innovation, and tradition. And this exhibition invites you to experience that heritage, the artistry, elegance, and creativity that continue to inspire the world today. So join us at SDSU's PSFA 130 from October 2025 through March 2026 for Silk on Silk, where history and beauty meet in every thread. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Afina. And we want to mention our sponsors without whom we couldn't function, the PL Charitable Trust and the Shu family. And we also, at this point, if I could have the next slide, want to mention guidelines for engagement. Number one, you'll be noticing the Chinese characters under the screen at the bottom, and that's done through AI and converts our spoken English word into Chinese characters, which my Chinese speaking friends tell me is pretty darn accurate unless an English speaker attempts to say something in Chinese, which befuddles the software. We're also going to be asking you for your comments after we're done. And so feel free to either remember them or write them down or put them in the chat box. And after we're done, we hope we'll have a little time to go over things. And right now, we're going to be having a group picture. So, ladies.
All right, I'll be taking the group picture today, so please turn your cameras on and I'll let you know when I'm done taking the photo. All right, I'm done.
Okay, we don't have to smile anymore. That's lucky. And right this minute, I want to again remind everyone that we're here courtesy of San Diego State University Chinese Cultural Center and also the San Diego Chinese Historical Museum presenting our monthly Chang Chinese American Experience and Beyond. And we have co-presenters, namely May Pang and Billy Amendola. And May Pang worked for Apple Records, where she met John Lennon and Yoko Ono and became a personal assistant to them and worked on many solo records. And she was also once John Lennon's partner during his Lost Weekend in 1973, 1974, 1975, and became a successful music manager in the 1980s, helping launch songwriters such as Diana Ross, Judas Priest, and Air Supply. And then she shared her story through books and video. And she has a book, Loving John, uh, and then has a photo album, Instamatic Karma, and then in 2022, a documentary, The Lost Weekend, a Love Story. And May now designs feng shui jewelry, consults on film music, and supports rainforest conservation and goes on tour with her Lennon photo exhibit. She's toured, I think she says 77 tours so far and counting. Billy Amendola is a New York-based drummer, producer, and industry advisor, and rose to fame with his band Mantis in the 1970s and had multiple Billboard dance hits and is a former long-term modern drummer, editor, and currently podcast host for Billy's Bubble. And he pioneered hybrid drumming, recorded with Debbie Gibson, and performed with Ringo Starr's All-Star Band. So many of us may have heard him if we've seen Ringo Starr's All-Star Band. He mentors musicians and serves on boards for the Sessions Panel, Music Will, and Raven Drum Foundations. So at this point, we're going to have May and Billy chat with us, and we're all looking forward to this. So why don't you guys take it away?
Okay. Hang on. Well, all right. Well, here we are. I can't turn it back on. I can't turn this, has asked you to start your video, start my video. Let me start, because it wouldn't start. Okay, now.
Yeah.
Now.
Hey,
Technology is not always there.
You guys
Hello,
look
everyone.
wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
We're here.
We're here. We're in New York, and everybody else, and welcome. Thank you for joining us, and I'm very honored to be asked to be part of this, this event. And I never thought of myself. It's funny because I would tell people, my heritage is Chinese, and they look at me and they go, Chinese? Oh, I forgot that you are. I'm so Americanized. And in my family, I was always called, oh yeah, the one that was born there. So if you're Chinese, of Chinese heritage and family, you'd understand that. I was always called the, Juksin of the group, because everybody else in my family, which of course included my sister, everybody was born in China except me. So I did make a trip back to China in '83, around that late in the winter of '83, and it was just opening up. So I was the only one that had to go back to meet the rest of the family. It was quite interesting. I was not used to the way things were working. I kept saying to my uncle, don't we have to call auntie about something? And I kept forgetting they had no phone. It was just a little primitive. But as I left China and I left Guangzhou, as they would call it, or the Guangdong area, and heading back to Hong Kong, I just remembered looking at it, how beautiful it was in China, and looking and saying, when I return, and I will come back, I knew that it was going to be different. I saw the weeping willow trees, the people doing Tai Chi out in the mornings. It was just peaceful. And now I see pictures of big cities that that are so modern, more modern than us in lots of ways in the States. So, but I do look forward to going back. And so here I am, the
And
girl,
mom started to like it here. She used to come to the parties.
my own mom. That's true. My mother loved being in America. And in fact, when she went and returned back to China for a visit, um, they said to her, "Oh, you live in the States." And my mother looked at her and said, how do you know I live in the States? She goes, it's the walk you do now. It's the way you walk. You don't walk like the people here. So I guess they noticed. She liked the modern. My father, he was still old fashioned. I was not a boy. So if you understand that one, I didn't fit into his.
But that's what made you independent. Mom was independent.
Yes, that's true. My mom was so independent. She used to encourage me. And so here I am. And she said, you know how to speak English. You can go out and do the work. So I became that person. And it was, at first I didn't understand it. I was so rebellious because my father wouldn't allow me to speak English in the house. And he would yell at me in Chinese all the time saying, nobody understands you. And I was so defiant. So I made a documentary, as what was it? As Bob said, and it touched on the fact of my upbringing. My mother understood what was good in school. I went to a Catholic school that was the best one in the neighborhood, and I went to. My father was an atheist, and my mother's a Buddhist. So we had it all. And I lived in Spanish Harlem. Um, my mother had a laundry in Harlem, and then we moved to Spanish Harlem when things were being torn down. So I grew up in a very eclectic area, and I asked my mother about that too. Why did we live in Spanish Harlem? And I said, how come not being in Chinatown like everybody else? And she just said to me, it is so dirty down there. I didn't want to live there. So it was New York back then. It's New York now. It's the I'm it was music that in the end that saved me. American Bandstand was the music. I would hear music and I could relate to it. It would soothe my soul. It would take me to another place. I felt comfortable. And I remember when I did meet Dick Clark, I said, American Bandstand just saved me. And he understood it. I love music. So who would have thought that years later that I would end up working for the company that managed Apple Records, and let alone then later on became John and Yoko's assistant, and also became his partner, John's partner for a few years. Our relationship spanned 10 years, although a lot of people didn't know that. So that's why I made the documentary, The Lost Weekend, a love story. That Tribeca Film Festival asked us to participate in 22, and it was the most requested movie when it was announced that I was a participant.
I have to say, I had the honor of seeing it with you. If I saw the movie with you,
You
when
saw
you saw
several.
it for the several times, yes. But I saw it with you when you saw it for the first time. That was an
Sure.
honor that you asked me to watch that with you, because we know each other for so long. I knew a lot, and there's still stuff that I learned in the movie that I didn't know about.
I know.
So I love it. And if anyone hasn't seen that movie, you must see it. It's on Amazon. You can get the DVD, the Blu-ray. It's a must see because everything is explained, and it's just a beautiful movie. And you know, it's not just for musicians, which is what I think made the movie as popular.
I think I made that movie was for the explanation, because there was so many. I wrote the book Loving John in 83, but people still couldn't believe that I was still a part of John's life then. So it took many years. And of course, the next book I wrote was in 2008, from 83 to 2008 was a long time. I did re-put out the book Loving John under a different title with just a little bit difference, which was called John Lennon, The Lost Weekend, but it's the same book. And the photograph book was just amazing for most people because they couldn't believe the photos that I had taken.
Which you candidly took.
I know.
And then you had them under in a shoebox under your bed for how many years?
A lot of years. I think it was like, what, 30, 40
Yeah,
years?
and you would show them to us and show people, and everybody would go, "Oh my God, oh my God," and then
they said, "You were there?" A lot of people had no idea that I was at, when you look at these photos and they would ask and they would say, "I didn't know you were there." And so that's the reason why I put the movie out, so that it gives you an idea. Of course, never thinking ever once that, being Chinese, you hear all sorts of things. It just happened that I'm Chinese. Yoko is Japanese. Also, an explanation: we're not of the same race, although everybody puts us in the same category. But it is true. So when I started working at Apple, I know everybody thought, oh, it's Alan Klein, it's this, it's that. Having worked closely, Alan would love to have, the Beatles were just so far apart. They had grown. Having met them, the personalities were now growing, and they all wanted to do their own thing. So it was a natural progression. But they, as John once said, they were apart, but they were together because they did things, and they still played on each other's albums, or still would help, especially for Ringo, your pal.
Yeah, my buddy Ringo. While we're talking about Ringo, we can go to the next photo. But while we're talking about Ringo at the exhibit, some of the photos, you have a photo of Ringo and John, which is one of the last photos. And then one of the main photos of John and Paul, you actually
I have that
pretty
too.
much, that is the last photo of them together. And it's a very candid shot of them just
together
talking on a beach chair.
Yeah, well, that was that, and it was a surprise visit. And it's not the last time that we saw Paul, or John saw Paul, but it was the last time they'll be photographed together. And who would have thought that?
And Ringo was
there.
Keith Moon,
Mal Evans, Klaus, Harry, Klaus Vorman. So it was quite interesting. So when you see some of the photographs when I do the exhibition, I laugh because John's wearing my jeans. He could actually fit into my jeans.
Yeah. And the photo that we're looking at, that picture of George, that's one of my favorites, because no one's really seen that photo before. And of course, that photo next to it is one of my favorites, which became the the album cover
No,
for
it was a single
the
cover.
single for Imagine.
Right, in England.
In England.
And then I think also in France and a few other places. John asked me personally, he said, I would like to use that photo. And it was taken when we were in Ellenville, New York. And I it's near Woodstock. Well, anybody who's come to the gallery, when they see that photo, I've never known so many people that said, I used to live in Ellenville.
Yep.
It's like, you did? It's like, it was amazing. We had a few days rest, and that's where we were. But John loved that photo because he's wearing his favorite Irish sweater.
Yeah.
And we were walking up the pathway, my friend whose house we were borrowing. So let me show you the trails that you could walk. And so he's walking up there. And
whose dog is that?
The owner, Richard's and Cynthia's dog, that's Shazam. They're like wolfhounds here. Shazam and Delilah, German shepherds, and they were friendly. Although Shazam, I'm not too sure about. All I saw was teeth.
Now that picture of George.
Yeah.
When did you take that?
That was the funny. He is the first Beatle that I actually took of them. It was at the Apple offices in New York in 1970 when George brought over the master tapes for All Things Must Pass, and he was having it mastered in New York. And he saw me in the hallway with my camera. I never was without my camera. I always carried it. And for everybody, I was not a photographer. I was really that was my passion. That was my love. And I just thought taking photographs of people's faces were so interesting. So he saw me walking down the hall and with his disc cutter, and he said, and he goes, and I wanted to take a picture. He goes, you want a picture? He knew. I mean, it's just the look on my face. And I said, can I? Because he was so gracious and so lovely that he allowed me to take several photographs. And I was so nervous. And I'm going, I don't even know if this is going to take.
Great shot.
Yeah, it was.
Great shot.
I have several.
While we're talking about George, in Number 9 Dream, you whisper John, right? John.
Right.
John. Then at one point, we just had this conversation not too long ago. Everybody thought you say George,
right?
Krishna, and tell us what's the story behind that? Because I've never even knew that.
Well, here's the thing. On Number 9 Dream, which is the song, not many people knew that I'm the one whispering John's name. And I do
singing background.
And singing background as well. That you will learn, especially when you watch the documentary. I do speak about it and I expand on it. But after I did this thing that John requested for me to do, I did not know that later on what he did was he reversed the tape. So it sounded like George as opposed to, John.
It's amazing.
And I know you just asked about it recently. Yes. And it's, but it's me either way, frontwards and backwards. That's me.
It really sounds like George.
Yeah. And, and for anybody who before we go on that picture of George, just so you know, when George did his last tour, of course, Dark Horse, John was supposed to go and play with him on the stage, but a little thing that we had to do prevented John from doing it, a little business matter. But we did see George at the end of the night. We did go to the after party, and it was great. And of course, John and I went to see George's concert to see what it was like.
Right.
We went out to Long Island. We went out to Nassau Coliseum. We were standing there, and then some of the fans started to lean over and realize that John and I were standing there. And I said, John, and we just moved back. So we didn't want to take away from George and his concert. So we just sort of sat in the background.
What's the next photo? Let's see.
Next.
What do we have? Walls and Bridges, which is where Number 9 Dream is on. Now, one of my favorite songs from this album is Surprise, Surprise. and that was written. John wrote that for you. He made that clear that he wrote that for
Yeah.
you.
Yes. He made
Um,
it was
How did you feel that, like, tell us the process of that? Like, did he tell you ahead of time, or you heard
no,
it in
he
the
didn't tell
studio?
me. No idea. What it was that we had gotten together, and it was after like a first night that we had gotten together. And I was in the office doing something, and he called me in and he said, "Come in here. I want you to hear something." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Come in here now." And I went into the office. He goes, "Sit down." And I'm like, "Okay." And he started to play just on guitar. He just started to he wrote these words for me. And so I was just like, I was dumbfounded. I didn't even know what to say, because I never think of that type of thing, that here is John Lennon writing a song for me. And on this album, Number 9 Dream is first, and Surprise Surprise is the second. It's on the B side. They're one right after the other. But the first song that was ever written, when you do it in chronological order, was this song, was Surprise Surprise. And the last song he wrote was Number 9 Dream. So it's one right after the other on this one. And it is also from this album, John had his only number one hit record with a number one album in his lifetime. So it is quite amazing.
And that was a bet that he made with Elton, right?
Oh, he made that bet with Elton.
That bet with Elton that it was gonna, if it went to number one,
right,
he would have to perform it with Elton.
And that's the song is.
Yeah, that's not.
And the song was Whatever Gets You Through the Night. And so, which ironically, it's so weird. John was a TV watcher. He loved TV.
And this is in the movie too. So.
Yes. And he loved watching TV all the time. And we stumbled upon Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike was like this flamboyant, reverend, and tells you, and all of a sudden you hear him going, "It's whatever gets you through the night, man." And John just sort of like went, "Oh, I like that line." So he always had by his bed a yellow notepad and pen, and so that he could write his words, because he said, if I don't write it down now, I'll forget it by morning. So he always wrote that, and he built that song around that line.
And it did go to number one.
And it did go to number one.
He did perform at Madison Square Garden around Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving night, and we went to see how Elton also performed. So we flew up on Elton's private jet. Never done that before. And we flew up to Boston. So we went to the Boston show, and we sat there and we watched the whole show. So from start to finish, it was great. And then we flew back to New York. Nice way to travel.
Now let's clear something up though while we're on that subject, because history gets changed a little bit.
Okay.
When John performed that night, of course, Yoko was there backstage. There's pictures of her, even the carnation. She gave him the carnation. Now, a lot of people think
it's gardenia.
Gardenia. A lot of people think that was the night that they got back together.
Okay.
So let's clear that up.
I'll clear that up. Yoko, I was the one who told Yoko that John was going to perform a couple of weeks ahead of time. And the first thing she said to me was, "Oh, I want to go." And also to clear up, Yoko called us every day. That was like her mantra. And we have seen her over the time too. It was not like we were never, she had disappeared. So when I made sure that she got the tickets, and it was done through Tony King, who was working for us, but who was also a personal friend of Elton's. And so got her 4 tickets. She brought somebody along, and the other 2 tickets were for Peter Boyle and his wife. So the 4 of them went.
Young Frankenstein, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Right, the actor.
Those who don't know Peter.
Right. So what is said is, the only thing that's true is that he didn't know when she was going to sit down to look at the show. But we knew she was coming because I got her the tickets. And that night, and she came backstage, she gave Elton and John gardenias. She sent flowers to both. And I saw them backstage. And then, of course, at the after party, she was there. And then we all went home. And so I have been approached many times already by different fans that said how they felt bad for me that John had left me that night. And I said, that's not true. That didn't happen. So I'm here to tell that it did not happen then. And besides, we then had, not long after that, we had Julian come by. We said seeing George. So all this was after that event.
Right. Now I want to talk about, well, we were talking about John had his first #1 record. That is the period when that Walls and Bridges, and that period that you guys were together, he was the most creative musically. So he did the Pussycat album with Harry Nilsson, Fame.
Fame came after, but yes, he did Fame.
All in this period.
Yeah. Yes.
Even Johnny Winter, he wrote a song, Rock and Roll People, for
Correct.
Johnny Winter. He was on writing songs for Ringo and was on Ringo's album. So he.
Oh, Mick Jagger.
And Mick Jagger, the Too Many Cooks, right?
Too Many Cooks.
So what made him so creative in that period? Was it because he was happy, because we all saw it, and everybody that knew him back then said he was very happy, and he was seeing a lot of friends that he hasn't seen, and he was making music?
You know what? I always encouraged him to want to write and be, just do it. And when we did the Walls and Bridges, he was so proud of that album because of the fact that from the start, when we went into the studio to the time he handed the tapes over to Capitol Records, 8 weeks.
Right.
And he was in budget because I did the budget. So we were in budget, very low if comparative to anybody else.
Great musicians on that
all
record,
the great
all
musicians. And when it became #1 and we all got, everybody got gold records, John was very appreciative. He made sure everybody got their gold records. And he also got me one, and I was surprised. I had no idea that he gave me one too. So that's on my wall. So it's an amazing album. It was his change. He just felt good. So we had been coming off of between the Phil Spector, which was
and the rock and roll album.
That was Phil.
Well, before we go, here's the picture we were talking about before. Now we could go to the next slide. But the rock and roll album.
Next.
The rock and roll album.
Yeah. That's the single, and that's my picture. Right, for Imagine.
First time in the UK.
Yeah, and that was 3 years after the actual album came out.
Right.
Okay, so that's the picture he wanted, and I just found out not that long ago. John released this on my birthday.
Ah.
I had no idea.
I had no idea about that either.
So I am like, a friend of mine told me, and I thought, he gotta be lying.
Oh, and talking about that, the video that we all know, that we've seen thousands of times in that room where Yoko's opening the windows and John is playing at the piano. You're sitting on the floor, right?
I'm off on the side watching because to be sure that everything is going okay. I was actually there, and that's
pretty iconic.
And the rug that's in there, he had it shipped, so that was in our apartment.
Right, that's right. He loved
He said,
that rug.
"Why are we wasting it?"
He loved that rug, right?
He said, "Well, no one got a chance to use it."
All right, let's go. We mentioned the rock and roll album. Let's talk a little bit about that rock and roll album.
Okay.
With Phil Spector. I mean, the chaos that went on.
27 musicians the first night.
Hal Blaine and Jim Keltner.
That was the only thing John knew. We had no idea. John had asked that Roy Cicala, his chief engineer and owner of the record plant East, be part of this session. So we've had to fly him out. And he brought in also, there was no other seasoned assistant to help him. And so we got an inexperienced Jimmy Iovine.
Right. He was
just starting out, who didn't know much. Anyway, so we get in, and it was a setup for 7, possibly 8, because Phil wouldn't tell us.
And that's how Phil liked to do things. That's how he created that wall of sound.
But he wouldn't tell us how many people were going to show up.
He always had 2 drummers, 2 bass players. Everything was doubled.
and tripled.
And tripled.
And so we had 27 on the first night.
More Mark Rivera was on that.
Nope.
Mark Rivera didn't play horn on that. He's
Nope.
in the Stand By Me
Nope. Oh,
video. And
only
John
on
Corbett.
the video. On the record, it is not him. It is Bobby Keys.
Ah, you see, there's some news right there.
Yeah.
And John Corbett, is John Corbett on that record?
John is. All those are after for the
promo.
for that promo thing, not for the actual recording.
So Hal and John was into Hal because he
He
knew
loved
of
it.
all the Wrecking Crew and all those songs that Hal
Yes.
did. And
But
Pelker, of
we had
course,
Nino
was-
Tempo on Nino Tempo on the Fifth Avenue sax. This is all part of the Phil Spector sessions. We had a lot. Oh, Steve Cropper came in.
Steve Cropper, right?
So we've had a lot of people. Oh, the first night. So this is the great part about being in this. This was amazing. So the first night we had two piano player. One guy is named Barry Mann, who wrote some of the most amazing 60s songs,
Yeah.
right? With his wife. And the other
Cynthia Wow.
yeah, and the other person on the piano was Leon Russell.
Right.
So those are the two that were playing for a couple of nights. And then when Leon said, "I'm out of here," we ended up with
And Leon worked with Phil back in the day because he was part of the record.
He's part of the Wrecking Crew. So when he left, we ended up with Dr. John.
Wow.
So there was a lot of different people. Oh, and Jeff Barry, another one from that. He played the
Yeah, they
tambourine.
never put the credits on that album. That was one album that they never put the credits.
It
And
was-
then there was the fiasco with
Yeah, that's why the
Morris
fiasco.
Peavy and
Well, it would have worked. It would have been fine, but we didn't know that Phil was taking the tape.
yeah. Well, Phil was going on one of his tantrums.
Yes, and to this day, he kept saying he was in a car accident, but there was never certified any place about that. Anyway, so that's how, and that got broken up into two sessions. So the rock and roll started in '73, but finished in late '74. Yeah, much later. But we got it out, and that became the rock and roll. And everybody, since if you listen to the record, half of the record is produced by Phil, and the other half, like Stand By Me, is produced by John. Totally.
Yeah, he took over. He had to take over.
Yeah, he took over. That was not a
And
problem.
that kind of happened with All Things Must Pass. Phil Spector was produced that, and then kind of George kind of took over.
Yes, and he had a tendency. If you had seen some of the stories, or read some of the stories of Phil, you'd be very surprised. I was there also at one of the sessions when they shot the gun off.
Yeah, that's a famous story.
I told that originally. No one brought it out, but I was the one who originally brought it out in my book in 1983 when I talked about that.
And John was concerned about his ears.
Yeah, because it whizzed by him. So and of course we didn't know, we thought that Phil was doing it and this was all blanks. And it turned out.
Oh, Mal Evans, right?
Mal Evans comes and finds us after the next day or so. And he goes, "I'm so glad I found you." He goes, and we said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, we were at dinner in some restaurant." He goes, "Well," he puts out his hand and he goes, "Well, here's the bullet from last night." I said, "What bullet?" "What bullet?" So we were kind of shocked that they were real bullets. And that's when we just sort of like, "Oh my God." So the things that could have happened.
They do say geniuses go crazy.
Well, I don't need that genius in my life. And I fought with him actually, and that he actually wouldn't let me get in the car with John, that he actually,
that's right, I remember.
and he actually had his bodyguard physically pick me up and remove me.
Right.
So,
and that was the night that John lost his glasses, right? Was
this
that
is
a different night.
No, he lost his glasses that night.
Right.
They took it away from him.
Right. And I know John went with his glasses.
He was
like
blind.
Anybody that wears glasses, when somebody touches your glasses and you can't see, and you're a little buzzed, yeah, it's not a good situation.
Where like he couldn't see beyond 6 inches.
Yeah.
He really couldn't. So if you see these pictures of him and he's squinting and he's looking at you.
So this is all in the movie, which is called The Lost Weekend, A Love Story, because someone was asking what was the name.
Right.
So
and there it is.
Definitely check that out. Is there another slide? Next photo?
Next, please. Oh.
There he is.
When John wanted to do, he had an idea for the album cover, The Walls and Bridges. And he says, "Take some of the photos." And I'm taking these photos. I took a series and this was one of them. They couldn't use it. Now they could do anything they want,
Right.
but back then I needed a 2 1/4 type camera format.
Right.
I only had a 35. So a lot of people are always asking what kind of camera I'm using. I am using a 35. It is not an instant camera. Otherwise, those pictures would have long gone. So I use a 35. So I have a series of this. So that's what this picture
And
is.
this was all different shots with his tongue
Right.
out, his tongue in.
So the photographer that ended up taking had to retake what the series that I had taken.
Right. And did Bob Gruen take for the
Yeah.
Bob Gruen too?
The reason that we ended up, John didn't want any, just he really only wanted me, but since we had to get somebody quick, he said, okay, get Bob. And we told just get him, because he's, he'll be quiet in the corner.
Yeah, no, well, that's what made Bob a good photographer, because photographers are supposed to be not seen, not heard, just taking the photos.
But the only thing was, all his photos are sort of soft focused. And because at one point when we got the contact sheet back, John looked at them and he says, well, it's about effing time. They're in focus. So that was the thing. That was what he was afraid.
We do love you, Bob, but it's a lot of history there.
Yes.
Oh, now the New York shirt.
Yeah.
Whose shirt was that?
That was Bob's.
That was Bob's shirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was.
And then
Bob's.
we have a picture, I think, it's coming up soon. Next. Oh, talking about the Pussycats album. Harry Nilsson.
Correct. Don't they look at the hair? I mean, look at this. Look at this group.
Now, where is this?
We were on our way for a weekend. Oh, hello?
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you? Who's that speaking to us?
Me. I'm Tanya.
Okay.
Tanya, let's mute ourselves and we'll have questions at the end.
I'm so sorry.
Okay?
I'm so sorry.
This is what happens when.
At least we know people are watching.
Yeah, that's true. We were on our way to Palm Springs for the weekend. This group here, and we spent the weekend. John wanted a couple of days off before we started the Pussycats album. So, because John had just had that whole barrage of with Phil, and that was all that, and now we were into.
Wanted to get back to work.
Yeah, but he wanted to also have a few days off before dealing with, you're talking Harry Nilsson.
Yeah, at that point, Harry was going through some things.
Well, John told him that he needed to get himself together, and during the day, he said, you got to go see a doctor, get acupuncture to take care of your voice.
Right.
Unfortunately, Harry Nilsson didn't do that. In the day, he would, to this day, I can't understand how he managed. He would get to the acupuncturist, no matter what time it was. Even if he pulled an all-nighter, he managed to get there. But by the evening, he did himself in again.
His voice was shot.
His voice was shot, and it was terrible.
And he's one of the greatest singers.
Oh, and so that was an amazing time. I could just tell you.
What's the next photo? Oh, see, I took that photo.
That's right. It's a grown-up boy.
That photo. That's Julian, and you took that photo.
The album
cover.
That's right. Because Julian called me. He actually contacted me in the middle of the night, and he said, "By any chance, would you have a photo of me back in the day?" And I never knew if I sent it to him or not, and I just sort of said, "Okay."
Fill me up, Daddy.
So, I just sort of, I put that, I sent that, and within 5 minutes.
That was a good album. And Julian is still kind of underrated as an artist, as a musician, because, of course he's going to sound a little bit like his dad, and there was nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Everybody that's in the music business wants to sound like the Beatles. They wish they could sound like the Beatles. But because it's John's son, of course he was going to get hassled a little bit more, but he's got a new record out, and I love it. So
He's great. I mean, you know, we
and he
stay
does a lot for the world.
Yes,
That's one thing his dad would have been very, very proud of.
for the White
How
Feather
much he
Foundation.
does,
Yeah.
how much behind the scenes stuff that people don't know, how much he saves. He brought water to Africa.
Right.
I mean, he does a lot.
Absolutely. So there we
And
go.
that was a good night. That was a fun night.
That was.
That was his photo show.
And it was, yeah. I didn't know that they had these pictures there.
Yeah.
And so it was perfect.
Yeah, it was good. That
Yeah.
was a good night.
Because he had a book out. Yeah.
Now, while we're talking about Julian, in the movie, it really shows the relationship, because you were really like a stepmom to him, because you brought him together with John after John not seeing him for so long.
Right, few years. And
What's the next photo? Maybe we'll luck out, and there we go. Cynthia, Julian's mom.
We
You had an
became
amazing relationship with Cynthia.
Right. This is me visiting her in her house in Spain. And at that moment, it was really when I went to visit her, it was her husband had just died. Oh, she was married, Noel.
Yeah.
And I went to see how she was doing. And little did I know that this photo would be my last time that I would see her. Because she died about a little over a year later. And so I was so heartbroken. And I could see it in her eyes that she's tired. And she would say to me, she would always say to me, the truth will ultimately win out. It's your turn. You have to carry it on. I said, what do you mean? You know, and she goes, it's your turn.
Yeah.
And so I had.
Well, we won't give it away, but the way you end the movie is perfect. What you say at the end of that is absolutely, it's the way it was.
Yeah.
And she was a beautiful woman.
Absolutely. We were very close.
So nice and so kind and quiet.
I don't know about quiet. We've had our moments when we were laughing about things.
Yeah, but I mean,
and she was very outspoken.
She wasn't like, she didn't go like, you know.
She was quiet in the sense of
she was respectful.
You know, right. Yeah. But she was definitely, she spoke her mind.
Yeah.
She definitely was. And
okay, what's next? And this is John's friend, like from school, that took this photo, right?
I think it was, no, it was Jorgen Vollmer.
Oh, right.
I found him in 75 and he couldn't believe it. He goes, I want the picture. And if you look from afar, you can see it's like Paul, and you can see it's all, and I think this is George. So it was in a doorway in Germany.
Right.
And I've actually been there. And I stood in that doorway. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a great time. So to find the doorways and to find all this history going back, it was great.
That's cool.
And John didn't think that this album was any good, but Capitol Records said, I want it, and that's where,
and these were all songs that John grew up with.
Yes.
Really, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go back to his roots and do songs that he loved.
Correct.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
What's the next photo? There's Julian and John. So tell a little bit about.
We would always go out where we lived. We had a neighbor, Eddie Germano, and at the time he was the general manager for for Record Plant. He was
Record Plant. Then and so
later.
After he left Record Plant, then he went to
that was that. But at the time when this was it was the Record Plant, and he was our neighbor, and he was the one that got our apartment for us where we lived on East 52nd Street. So when we were on weekends, one day he called up and he said, listen, John, I have a boat. All of a sudden, John's ears just perked up. He goes, yes. And he goes, would you like to go out with us? I turned around and John says, yeah, we're ready. We're going. And we did this quite often with him. Every time they said, we're going out on the boat, John was ready.
Yeah, John loved water. Right?
Loved water. So that's why in my exhibition, you see a lot of him swimming and enjoying himself. So it was great. So this is when Julian happened to be with us. and we went out there. They were great. They can swim. I can't. I kept seeing the headlines, you know,
Yeah.
girlfriend drowns John Lennon. I was panicking in the water. And John says, "Oh, I'll teach you to swim."
Did he
No.
teach Julian to swim?
No,
or
he already knew how to swim.
Julian already knew how to swim, see?
He already
That's
knew.
a great shot.
Yes,
That is a
so
really good shot.
when Julian and Cynthia did the White Feather Foundation, they opened up a museum for a short time in Liverpool. They actually used this photo.
Yeah,
they actually asked for that photo.
That's a beautiful photo.
So it was great. And I have a series because I thought me taking a photo of them, it was just natural.
like being on vacation and taking photos.
But yeah,
that's a really good photo.
Right. So that's one of the,
not only the composition, I mean the actual photo.
People have asked, where did I take this photo? And I say in the Long Island Sound. And they go, where? Well, I live on whatever in Long Island. I said, I'm in the Sound. And when I say that, and I said, I'm actually in the water. We're in the boat.
Right.
We're not on land.
Right.
So when I always say that I'm in the Sound,
and
I'm in the Sound.
The light is perfect.
Yeah. So I would tell them where the boat came out of. So I would say we were from Larchmont, and then we went out into the middle of the Sound, which of course one side in the background is Connecticut and the other side would be Long Island.
Right.
So we were there, and John loved it. It was so much fun for him.
What's next?
Next. When we were doing this picture, when we were doing the Walls and Bridges album, Julian was, of course, during that time period, he was in town and we were finishing up the Walls and Bridges. And this picture was taken by Roy Sakala, the owner of the place, of the record plant. And you could see Julian.
So Julian's sitting at the board, right?
Right. He's sitting on the board and John's leaning over. So it was quite funny because John recorded him, and on the record you hear a little bit of ya that.
Oh, right. When and Julian played the drums on that because his first instrument was drums.
Right. So it was, a lot of people don't know that. So when we said we got a surprise for you, and he heard the record, and he said to his father, "Oh, Dad, I wish I'd known that you were going to put it on the record. I would have played better."
That's good.
Yeah. So
that's another great shot.
Yeah. So that's what that was.
Next.
Oh, well.
You see, I got to get a new chain because I would have worn mine today. I got to get a new.
One of my jewelry pieces, because I have to tell you, what I was finding out that drove me crazy was I'm looking for feng shui things, and I didn't see anything that was beautiful enough to make it work. So I started creating. So this is stainless steel with a couple of pieces of jade. And
there was 3, right? So which one is this one?
This one's harmony.
Harmony.
I would make the different shapes also. So people can go on my website, which is maypang.com, and they can look at it. And so,
oh no. You don't even know. I'll show you.
It's like
May's shirt.
Yep, I even put it into a shirt. I got to do that again.
I know. I love this shirt.
This is the happiness.
I love this shirt.
So anyway, got to do that. So that, I just love doing that just to create. It's creativity. My mother used to make jewelry, and she's amazing. I see that the creativity rubbed off on me a little. I think my daughter has it mostly.
Oh yeah, Laura's great.
Laura, yeah, she's
coming into her own now.
Yeah, she's a graphic designer. She does a lot of packaging that I see on.
And Seb your son was into animation.
Oh, absolutely.
Growing up.
Yep, same thing. They're all creative. All creative.
What's next? Again,
this is on the boat, and this is what I call classic Lennon. Look. He saw that I picked
contemplating.
What's
he contemplating?
This picture is called The Cynic. And so it is that feeling like, okay, what's going on?
What's happening? Right.
Now I'm going to show you that.
Did he always wear that cross?
I knew you were going to ask me that. That's what I was just about to say. He wore that cross. He didn't buy it, and I've been asked about that for a religious reason. He bought it because the aesthetic. He loved the look of it. It wasn't so as a cross where you always have, Jesus on the crucifix,
right.
and it isn't that. So he saw we were in a store, and he said, "Oh my God!" He goes, "What do you think?" And I said, "It's unusual," and I said, "I think you should get it."
Look.
Right. And look at me. So I now make
Okay.
I also do it. Also, I do a replica of that. So it was
Nice.
inspired. Mine's a little bit bigger than the one that he's got on. But that is the reason why he's wearing it. He just liked the look of it. Fashion. He was
Great
a fashion.
shot. Another great shot.
Yeah, he was a fashion.
And his Elvis sideburns over there.
He never, that's what he told me. He had never, ever cut his sideburns. Ever. So there.
Wow.
Yeah. So next. Okay.
That's a beautiful picture.
That night was the night that they did the opening of the White Feather Foundation in Liverpool. So it's Cynthia,
which is a great organization. If anybody wants to look that up, White Feather Foundation.
Right. And donate. It's great. Yeah. I also I invited him to be a part of an advisory member of the one that I'm involved in called the Amazon Conservation Team and ACT. And this is where he got a chance to meet the Kogi Indians, a whole tribe that had never been.
And who's the gentleman that we
Mark Plotkin.
Mark.
Right. He found it. Right. And I got a chance to go down there, and it is absolutely amazing. So please also support that, because they also help the indigenous people in the land.
A lot of medicine comes from.
Yeah, exactly. And we need the people, because without the people, the land could still be there, but we need the people to understand where it's going.
Still going.
Yeah.
Next. There it is.
Right. So here's a picture of me standing in front of 3 photos that represent the group known as the Beatles.
And there's Ringo. Let's tell a real quick story, because to this day, if I ever say anything to Ringo, I don't bring it up anymore, but back in the day, he would still get a little agitated because
I guess he holds a grudge.
Paul broke his drum head at that jam, that jam that everybody talked about.
Yes, I was a part of this jam. Again, I end up in places I never think that I'm part of, but I am. It was the first night of the Harry Nilsson recording session in Burbank, California. And we were at the end of the night, and I look up, and coming through the door is Paul and Linda. Now, John hadn't seen them in years. And I go, and he could read my lips, and I'm going, "Paul, Linda?" And he goes, "What?" And he looked over, and there's Paul and Linda walking in. And Paul goes, "It's over?" He goes, "Yeah, but hang around if you want." And so.
And who else? Tell them.
Wait till we get in there.
Other than musicians
right
there.
So when we went in, they decided to do a jam, and we didn't have a drummer. Believe it or not, on the session we had 3 drummers. We had Keith Moon, we had Ringo, and we had Jim Keltner. All of them left. So we didn't have a drummer. So Paul decides he wants to be the drummer. Now, we don't have a bass player. So we don't even to this day know who came in. Then all of a sudden, I see Stevie Wonder walk in. And I'm sitting there going, what is going on? So now the jam session's happening. Linda's behind. She's on the Hammond organ. Stevie Wonder is on electric piano. Mal Evans, who was there, thank God, and myself, we pick up the tambourine. So we're playing tambourine. And we had the guitar. I think it was Cooch that was the guitarist.
Danny Cooch, yeah.
Danny Cooch was the guitarist.
From the immediate family.
So
another great film.
Wait a minute. And I think there's possibility of Jesse Ed Davis too.
Right. And then was Jack Bruce?
No, that was at another session.
That was at a different session.
So all these people are coming in.
So, and Paul's a good drummer.
Yeah, but after we drum, but we played and it was recorded and it was lousy. But this is not for, and I keep telling everybody, it was not meant to be recorded. It was just to have fun, to let your hair down after the recording session. And of course, the next day when we were back into the session, Ringo discovered something. You could take it from there.
Well, he walked in and he looked down and his
Snare.
the snare drum drum head was broken. Paul had broken his drum head. And I believe that was one of the drum heads that was all the way back on his original kit from his
Early days.
Of the Beatles. So I think that's why he really got upset, because of course it wasn't a money thing, or it wasn't,
It was more.
it was just like, nostalgia. So to this day, sometimes, well, I don't bring it up anymore, but many years ago, I used to talk to him about that, and he would get into the whole thing about it.
I won't bring it up, believe me. But I remember that, and he was like, "Who the hell's been behind this?"
Drummers would appreciate that, because when people want to sit in and they start moving everything around, it's like, and then you got to go back. It's like the worst thing.
I know.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. That was, and Paul was blasé about it. Oh, he'll get over it.
Yeah. Well,
that was it.
Yeah, exactly. What's next? Because I think we're coming up to, we're going to take.
This was just a photo I took of Cynthia. It was her birthday. And Julian, we were all in New York together. And we went out for dinner. And I thought it was such a sweet shot of them, Yeah. So that's what this is. So it's just a nice one. Okay.
And this is
the poster. This is our banner that we have when we are doing our photography, when I'm on the road, so people know. And people think that I'm a real photographer. I'm very honored when I have real photographers come in and they're dying to see these pictures, and they tell me, they go, "Your photographs are great. Their composition, that this and that." And I said, they go, "So where did you go to school?" I said,
right.
"I never went to school for it." And they go, "Well, how did you learn?" I just did everything by instinct.
Pick it up.
Yeah, I picked it up.
Same as Julian. Timothy White helped him out.
Yeah, you get
Julian's the same thing. He kind of just picked it up, and
it's that, it's I just happened to do it because I just thought it was a fun idea. Remember, this
and
is
of course, we always say this, it's the subject. But I mean, of course, this is John Lennon. But these are amazing photos. I mean, they look like professionally shot photos. They don't just look like, I'm on vacation, I'm going to take a photo, and they're not doctored or anything. This is the way they originally was. So,
I know. So it was.
You got a good eye.
I got a good eye, and that's what John said about me.
So if you want, we could come and take photos at your wedding. If anybody's getting married, we'll come and I'll hold the lights for you, and you could take wedding pictures.
Oh, sure. I don't know about wedding. That'll be another one.
Yeah. Maybe not weddings.
Maybe not.
Maybe divorce parties.
Yeah.
Not yet. Maybe. What's next?
Yeah, this was we were at the studio and we were getting ready to, as I call it, going on a date. We were getting ready. It was early. We're finishing off. So it's a picture, it's a Polaroid. And everybody says, "Well, you're in the picture. And back then, there's no such thing as selfies.
Right.
So I handed the camera to whoever it was, take a picture. And that's what it is. So that's us.
Yep. Next. I think the next one, yeah.
There's two of them. Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you.
I know. This is where there was a TV program, an episodic thing called Vinyl.
Right.
I think it was HBO. I think it was
HBO for a while. Mick Jagger's son played the lead character.
Chris Jagger, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and then there was all these people about the music business, and in one of the episodes, they had me and John, and I went, "Oh my God!" They actually had actors portray me, and the look I know came from this picture because they had everything similar to this. So I was
That's a great shot.
Yeah, we were going.
Now, who took that shot? Do you remember? Or just paparazzi?
It's a paparazzi. I have no idea, but I have it.
You kind of look like you're telling John.
We were going
better
out.
Be good tonight.
Yeah. And you can tell I'm wearing glasses. I mean, I was blind as a bat. So
Beautiful.
Same thing. Anyway.
What's next? Sergeant Pepper.
So John said to Robert Stigwood, who was, of course, very big and known as Bee Gees and all that.
RSO Records.
Yes, and would would John, and John was in that great mood back then. He said, would you give us a hand on this? And he was doing Sergeant Pepper on the Road. It's a play. And John said, sure, I'll help you out. So the day we were shooting this and other things, the BBC was involved for their thing. John said, let's get it all done in one swoop, right? So we're doing different things. So we're in front of the theater, which is the Beacon Theater in New York. And they called it Sergeant Pepper Way for that moment. And John happened to see that, look down, and
is that feather in his hat?
Yes, it's in his hat. And he stuck the feather in his hat, and
he's standing up on the pole.
Oh,
right?
He's standing up on there's a little podium thing that they put up there for him. And it was another actor. The other actor that was originally supposed to be on there was Bruce Scott. I think it was Scott.
Who's that? Looks like Burt Bacharach.
No.
It's not Burt Bacharach, but
the pin he's wearing, Buddy Holly.
Oh, Buddy Holly.
Because it was either Elvis or Buddy Holly, but if you look far, you can see the glasses. So it's Buddy Holly.
Wow.
And so there was I think it was Bruce Scott. Anyway, he was an actor, and he was supposed to play Billy Shears. So we did all this, publicity, everything, and I have a picture of actually the actor with him. And on the day of the opening of this play, I'm going, what happened to him? The actor's not there. And it was another actor, and it turned out that he broke his arm.
Oh my God.
So
After all that promo.
Exactly. So Ted Neely ended up taking over.
Who did?
Ted Neely. Jesus Christ Superstar, right? So that's what happened there. So that's where we are. This is a favorite of people when they come. Oh,
there it is.
So a few days before the actual performance at the Madison Square Garden, we're hanging out with Elton, and you could see that, there was a whole bunch of us. We were all there, but in this shot, my friend Michael Hewitson, who was Elton's dresser and assistant, he opens up a case, and I mean, it's a case full of Elton's glasses he would wear on stage, and we're trying them on. Elton is just as blind as the rest of us. We were all trying on the different glasses. And Cheech Marin was there at the same time.
From Cheech and Chong?
Yeah, from Cheech and Chong. He's there. I'm trying to think who else was in.
Wow.
So there's another
and
photo.
There's also, you have a photo in the exhibit that you're in, and you have glasses on.
Yes. So we're all wearing all the different
glasses,
things. Yeah, in the movie you see it all. I'm wearing it all. Yeah, we're trying them on. They were so beautiful.
Are there any other photos?
I don't know. Yes.
This is, yes. So tell everybody what this is.
Well, I just happened to capture John's signing mid-signature. And I didn't even know if I had a picture. John was yelling out, come and take the photograph. Anybody else would have loved to have John. I'm like, is Julian okay? That's all I was worried about. This is in Florida. This is the beginning of the signing of the dissolution of the Beatles. And the lawyers...
John's the last one to sign.
John was the last one to sign because he didn't sign it on the day they were supposed to, because there was still one outstanding bit in the agreement that he wasn't happy about. Because he was the only one living in America, he would be responsible for the taxes. That was like at that time $1 million, and John was like flipping out, and he didn't want to sign it. He says, no, I can't do this. I can't be the only one responsible for it. So of course, at the end they fixed it, they worked it out, and 2 lawyers came down. John's personal lawyer, Harold Sider, and the other lawyer, I think, I'm not remembering exactly which one it was. I think it was one of the lawyers from England that represented the Beatles that brought all the paperwork. So it's not one piece of paper, it's a bunch, because they had assets. So it's, and there's several that you have to sign. So actually this picture is upside down. You're looking at it from John's point of view. I was taking the picture from the front because he was laying on a bed. And so if I got on and took photo from his point of view, I would have rocked the bed and his signature
Yeah,
would not.
signature would have been all over.
So I said, okay, but it's amazing because, you know, as I developed it, never got the picture. I didn't know what this was until
And
years
is
later.
it true, he said to you, be my Linda?
Well, he said, come and be my Linda here. Come on. He yelled out to me.
Meaning Linda McCartney, who
Yes,
always
it was
took
a
photos.
it was a photographer and always took, and she would have been the one
She
taking
would have
it.
took it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm standing and going, what? Okay, okay.
See, and you didn't even know that this was going to be history.
No, had no idea. I have a couple more of these somewhere,
Yeah.
and different pieces of the agreement. Yes, but yeah,
The disillusion of the Beatles.
I never thought that I'd be the
All
last
right,
one.
now this is the photo we spoke about. This is the
Earlier.
last photo. This is the one we spoke about, the last photo of them
Together.
together.
It was the next day after he broke the drum set, the snare drum.
Right, right.
So as that's so that, you know, we're Paul and his and Linda and a couple of his kids came by. It was very funny because Paul was at the piano at one point at this house. Now this house was once owned by Peter Lawford, who was the
Related to the Kennedys.
related brother-in-law.
In-laws.
Yeah, the in-laws, right? And of course, John, being John, loved the history of Marilyn. Marilyn Monroe supposedly was there and all this. But what was funny was I had no idea. And Harry Nielsen was the one who rented it because it was his recording session. And when Harry found out that that was available, he rented it. So when we all got into the house and pictured this insane house. So John and I had the main bedroom, and John goes to the door that opened up to the window. It was like a Juliet balcony. And he goes, and he opens it up, and it opens up, and this is in Santa Monica. And he opens it up and he goes, so this is where they did it. And I'm looking at him going, what are you talking about? And he looks at me, he goes, Marilyn. And I went, oh.
Marilyn Monroe.
And Marilyn Monroe. And I went, oh my God. So in this house, if you come out, facing out, coming out of the bedroom, to my left was Ringo. To my right was Keith Moon. Then we had, in the other little alcove, we had Hillary Gerard, who was Ringo's manager. We had Harry Nielsen, and we had Klaus Vormann.
Okay.
That was just the house people. And then during the day, we had everybody else coming in.
That's great.
So we had a lot of people. And I was the house mother, and I'm the youngest one in this group.
And you kept everybody together.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried to keep everybody together. It was just insane.
So now this is the last photo because I think we're going to take questions from the audience. But before we go, what's the one question that almost everybody asks you about John?
They're surprised at the fact that John and Paul were friendly. People had no idea, and people would say, "Did they talk about this?" No, it was never discussed. That was avoided. None of them, nobody talked about business. It was just about them personally
growing up, brothers,
and you know, John was the one who told me, because when we saw George, he said. I looked at George and, you know, and I said, wow, all this, because George loved the fact that I was with John. And he said, yeah, he said, he goes, George was like my kid brother. And so from that moment, I always said they were the brothers. So, you know, it was.
No, that bond was never gonna.
It was never gonna.
Was never gonna break.
They are the only ones that could say whatever.
And they would have eventually gotten together. I mean, they did, with John and George not even being here, but.
Yeah.
God bless the Beatles.
That's true.
All right. Do you want to open up some questions, Bob?
Sure. First of all, may I thank you guys, and I want to say that personally, Billy, you and May do this great job together, talking back and forth. I think it's wonderful, and it's remarkably entertaining. Not to mention the content, but you got a great way with each other.
Thank you.
And I want to ask Afina and Kathy what she's got. One of you tell us a couple of the questions, or there have to be some repeats. What do we have from the group? We can't hear you, Kathy. I don't know why.
The microphone's off. Oh no, Lily's microphone. Kathy should be on.
Kathy?
I don't know if she hears. Kathy,
Okay.
can you hear us? I don't know.
Kathy, are you there? I can see you, but we can't hear you.
I think
She doesn't.
having a microphone issue.
This is what I love about live.
How about Afina? Afina, are you there?
Sure, I can take over while Kathy figures out her microphone. So the first question we got was from Alan. So the question is, did you accompany John when he attended the Elvis concert at Madison Square Garden in June 1972 with George Harrison and David Bowie?
David Bowie. We didn't meet David Bowie until John and I met David Bowie in 74. And we didn't see him again till much later. So definitely Bowie wasn't there. George, I don't remember in 72 I went in at Madison Square Garden. I went to see Elvis. I don't remember John going to see him.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the next question.
I think my mic is working now.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Can you guys hear
There we
me?
go.
Kathy.
Yay,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so the next question I think is from Deborah. She asked, will the movie be playing in or near San Jose, California?
The movie is streaming right now. So if you have Amazon Prime or any of those, they can, it's a film that is on demand that they can go and see it anytime.
Or you can purchase it.
Yep.
The Blu-ray, which is worth it, so you have it, because you're going to want to watch it more than once.
Yes, it's a lot of people couldn't believe they would go back and watch it again, and then finally said, "I think I have to buy it."
Yeah, it's worth buying. You can get that at Amazon.
Okay,
Okay.
so the next question is from Richard. He asked, I want to ask May if she remembers me asking for John's autograph.
Well,
Odds are slim of that, Kathy. Odds are slim.
That's thank you.
Oh,
Thank
he's
you.
clarifying which city it was. Oh, in that case. Okay, very cool. Do we have more?
Yes. I think I thought Lily had a question, but I'm not
someone
sure.
said something. I see something from at Caesar's Palace.
Oh, that was the Elvis.
No, Caesar's Palace. We didn't. What happened at Caesar's Palace was that was John and I first attending, going out to Las Vegas, and we stayed at Caesar's Palace. So, no, I don't remember anybody specific coming up to asking autograph because it's so long ago.
And
We did so much.
Didn't everybody come up if they saw him?
They saw, yeah, people kept coming up and they would ask for autograph, but we were there, and Tony King and Michael Hazelwood, who was a beautiful songwriter, who wrote The Air That I Breathe and all that, and It Never Rains in Southern California. It's a close friend of Tony King. So they came out and met us, and we had seen when we were out there, we went and saw Fats Domino.
Wow.
And we saw Frankie Valli, and then we left there, and then we drove back with Tony King and Michael, and we went and stopped in Calico Ghost Town. That's that. There was a great time coming back from Las Vegas to LA.
Yeah, road trips.
The road trips were great. I loved it. And a convertible.
And that's all spontaneity. You're not planning anything. You're just driving back.
Yeah, I have pictures of that.
Those are always good times.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question? Kathy and Afina, who are both in high school, uh, will appreciate what I'm going to ask you. Do you ever sit and think, May, and ponder the twists and turns in your life and how things have gotten where they've gotten, and just be amazed or stupefied by it all?
More of just recent, when people started asking me when I do these exhibition, I never sat and went, oh, I did this. It's only when people bring up certain events that I say, oh, I was there. Or, here we're talking about the signing of the agreement, the dissolution of the Beatles. I'm the only one in the room with John besides the lawyers, and I'm the only one taking the photographs. Or so there's all these little things that come around that I took life every day as it is, not never really sat down to think about it. I only do it when somebody finally makes me really ask that question, makes me think about it. It's
Okay, thank you.
amazing.
Kathy, what
Deborah
else do
has a
we have?
question. Will your photography exhibit be available in the Bay Area of California?
We're working on it right now. We're hoping to get out to the West Coast, out to the northern part of California. We've done the southern part. We haven't done the northern part. We're hoping to do that by the end of next year or the beginning of the year after that. Because we drive through most of these places. So we have a route that we follow that when we head out in that direction. So next year we'll start going northwest. And
Okay.
I'm on the East Coast.
Let me cut in, because the question I really want to ask May especially is, what is John's favorite food?
Oh, John's favorite food. First off, he loved to eat, but I'll start with the breakfast. A lot of people had no idea. He loved to eat. He loved the blueberry pancakes at IHOP. That was his one big thing.
Okay.
He loved IHOP blueberry pancakes. Second, I would make on Sundays his favorite breakfast, English breakfast. So I would make the bacon and eggs, beans on toast, like what they have in England. He loved that. The third one at dinner time, he would love to order Chinese food. And he would love to order the beef curry, which is a little different than the others. But he also liked Indian food, but beef curry, we would have that quite often. And when I just remember when Mick Jagger came over, I said, I'm ordering dinner and we're having this. And he goes, oh, just make it two. That sounds great, So, and his favorite soup is hot and sour soup, which of course I have a photograph of him, watching television, and there he is eating, and the nose is running, because it was so hot. So those photos are up that I put up on my exhibition.
And the other question is Chinese acupuncture.
Oh, he believed in that so much. He used to see a doctor in San Francisco called Dr. Hong. And because he was, when he was with Yoko, they were trying to get off of a lot of drugs, and he said he wanted his body to be clean. And Dr. Hong also helped him. He said, if you're with me long enough, we could also help you with your vision, with your eyes. And he told me about it. He said he had the acupuncture done close to his eyes, and he said I could see without my glasses. He was so amazed by it, but never got that far. But so that's why the glasses in the early days, the contact lenses, it was a pain. He didn't like those. It fell out of his eyes once as he was performing, and luckily he spotted it. And then he actually took his finger, wetted it, bent down, picked it up, and threw it back in his eye. So he never did that again. It's only glasses.
And George was very into acupuncture.
Yes.
That's how I learned about acupuncture. I remember, I don't know if it was Rolling Stone or a magazine, there was pictures of George with all these, I didn't know what it was. It was all these needles. And that's how I learned about acupuncture.
I love acupuncture. That's my thing. Always to find a good doctor with it is always hard, but like any doctor. But I love acupuncture.
Yeah, one more question is about Yoko Ono. Can you say anything about her?
Well, you know, working with her was interesting when I first started out. Um, and it was just, she was always a very demanding person because she wanted certain things that most people would never have understood. She did have ideas that she wanted that I found very strange for me anyway. She had designed these clothes with certain areas cut out strategically. And I remember her saying to me, May, I would like for you to model this. And I thought, okay. And I saw the drawings and she said, we got to find somebody that can make these clothes. I took that event, that project, and it was on the bottom of my other 20 or 30 other ones. That always was the last one. Never wanted to see that one in my time. But she was always creative, always active, whether it be singing, whether it be doing something else, she was always active.
And she was pretty independent, right?
She was independent.
Strong, independent woman.
Yes, she was very strong, very independent. You know, it was, you know, her mind never stopped. It was constant. She was always up early, and it was like she never slept, you know, so she was constantly working.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
I tell you what, I'm just loving this. I'm sure we're all loving this connection to rock and roll past. But Kathy, do we have one more question, and then we'll have to wrap it up?
Yeah, we have one last question from Lindsay. She asked, I heard that you'll be joining the Beatles pilgrimage tour in London and Liverpool soon. Will this be your first time going to Liverpool?
It's not my first time. I've been going to Liverpool since the mid-'80s, but it'll be my first time to join this tour. I was honored by the original Cavern Tours, which, you know, puts on the International Beatles Week. What was it, in 24? And they gave me a beautiful award, yeah, for helping them out and always being, you know, supportive of them. And I love Liverpool. It's like one of my favorite cities. Frida Kelly, who was the original secretary to Brian Epstein and also ran the Beatles fan club, she was just here to visit me, and I can't wait to see her back there. So it's fun. I have a lot of friends in Liverpool. I love that city. And I used to live in London. This is going to be for the pilgrimage. It's going to be in May
2026.
2026. So weird. I'm forgetting my years.
It's the end of the year already.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. Well, that's it. So at this point, Muting, if you could put on the slide with the upcoming things. So I want to speak for everyone to thank you folks for your wonderful presentation. I want to encourage everybody to buy the books, see the video, and see the photo exhibit. It sounds wonderful. I may do this, and I want to wish everybody the best for the holidays in December and Thanksgiving coming up. And we've got Tyrus Wong, the 106-year-old guy who's the artist for Warner Brothers and Disney, and then Chinese Woodblocks in February. And I want to again thank everyone for their time this morning. It was just a wonderful presentation, and I'd like the participants to stay on for no more than 5 extra minutes. And everyone else, I want to say bye-bye, and we'll see you folks in January. Okay, and have a great holidays, and see you at the museum.
Thank
Okay.
you.